Well, Josh, we're back. We just came off a just fine two-parter with our friends over on the Enterprise, the, but now it's time to dock at Deep Space Nine. Keep that in, I don't care.
You know, I was curious. Is there Deep Space 1 through 8 already in existence, and this is Deep Space 9? Is that what the 9 symbolizes? I don't know. Never heard them reference, like, Deep Space 4, for example, or anything.
Oh yeah, we never asked that question, did we, about why it's called Deep Space Nine?
Because it would make sense now knowing that it's a station. You would think that it's number 9 of the stations. Not like the Enterprise, where it's the D because of the different versions of the ships. Interesting.
Do you think there's a station for every hub of Enterprise space? Maybe near, I don't know. What's a random Star Trek species? That's
Andorians?
Yeah. Let's say, do the Andorians have a station out near their area just in case? Maybe
Be a good idea.
Maybe Deep Space One is off the moon.
Well, we'll find out maybe one day. But all right.
Ooh, got the nice garb on.
Baggy's quite fashionable on Bajor right now.
Since when are you interested in Bajoran fashions?
A lot of Bajoran girls come to the station.
And there's not a lot to do here, Dad.
Wasn't it just a few weeks ago that you were playing with model starships?
Try a few years ago.
My balls dropped, Dad.
The Wadi ship has just come through the wormhole. We're sending them to Docking Bay 4.
I'll meet you all there. Cisco out.
Didn't see Chief behind the ops station, so that's fucking great.
Where's your uniform, Doctor?
Huh? I can't seem to find it, sir. I mean, I'm certain I packed it.
You couldn't just replicate a new one?
And it's a brand new species. You're not going to know what your dress garb is.
We were told you had games. Quarks. Take us to Quarks.
Of course, they want to gamble immediately.
First contact is not what it used to be.
It's like you get cast in your own show almost. You're credited in the opening credits. You have a banger of an episode, the best one of the series so far, and you're just, we're not going to use him. We're not going to book him. Since the dawn of TNG, like every episode, for the most part, that he's in, he's just fucking great. And you know what, Colin? Just take your per diem and stay in Ireland for another few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that fucking off the screen. He's not here.
Aliens, too. Not great. Not the best design. Just a tribal tattoo on their head.
Yeah, just painted. The lead actor of the Wadi looks familiar, but
Yeah, he does. I don't know who he is, though.
So, do you fellas do a lot of gambling where you come from?
We like
Whoa!
For Dabo franchising, you and I...
Oh, David Carson.
we really have nothing to wager. Except this.
Get these folks some drinks.
I guess the stones are valuable. Is it just because they're shiny?
Getting ready to call it a night?
We've only just started.
I mean, you know the odds favor the house. If they keep playing, you'll win eventually.
unless they're cheating.
Well, I think he just tried to cheat there. Did you see that?
Oh.
One pinch showing. An unfortunate reversal.
Yep, he knows.
Yeah, was he slowing the wheel down? Is that what he was?
Yeah, he pressed a button, you
Okay,
know.
yeah.
You know, they actually did that back in the day in classic casinos. They had a button under it to make it land where they wanted.
So, how'd it go?
Great, just great. I've done nothing for the past 6 hours. Watch people play childish games.
Childish. They're gambling.
If gambling's childish, I want to see their adult games. Oh boy.
Why would you do it? right-
Broik! You disreputable swindler! I put up with your cheating for the last time.
It's like it's installed into the table.
A free visit to a holosuite, huh? Do you know what a holosuite is? Do you have sex on your work?
The only use for the holosuite.
The fuck?
Very unusual. I don't think I know this game. What's it called?
Chula.
Looks like it's about to take 6 hours to set up and explain. It's one of those.
Oh my god, he's the player, isn't he?
That'll be pretty awesome if you're right.
Cisco to security. Computer. Freeze program.
I wish they came up with an excuse for Odo not being here.
Move along home! Follow! Ah!
Doctor!
What?
Hey, Dr. Bashir, remember when you were in TNG and you acted really good?
Come on, David. One take, David.
This is not what I signed up for!
I don't find this fascinating either, Major.
Yeah, it's not their choice. No,
Oh,
there
he
it
is here. Oh, great. Just sleeping.
Have you checked his office?
The computer says he's not on the station.
Wow.
Roll. But you haven't even told me the rules yet.
You're required to learn as you play.
It's the best way to learn a game. Just play. Of course, after watching a 60-minute YouTube tutorial.
With the first 5 minutes being an ad for Squarespace.
Alma Rain, count to 4. Alma Rain, then 3 more. Alma Rain. Alma Rain, count to 4. Alma Rain, then 3.
Please shut her up, please.
Alma Rain, you'll come with me. Alma Rain, count to 4.
What a shitty effort. Ah.
Alma
Is there a way to leave?
Alma Rain.
Do you think we're supposed to do something?
You would have punched this kid by now if you were there. But does she have to say that the whole time? Oh, nice. Okay.
But you didn't say the rhyme. Alamarain, count to 4. Alamarain, if you can see.
I can't. You gonna make Cisco do this?
Alma Rain, count to 4. Alma Rain, then 3 more. Alma Rain,
then...
Imagine you hadn't watched this show yet, and you're a fan of TNG, and then you flip over.
Bro, you gotta come over Thursday night. We gotta watch Deep Space Nine. You gotta check this out. And then just...
You click it on mid-episode, and this is what you see.
Third chap.
It is very kind of TOS-esque. I'll give it that.
Very.
Which, you know, isn't a bad thing. It's just pretty jarring. Okay, so they've put it together now. But it doesn't seem like anything they're doing playing the game is controlling their actions at all.
Controlling their actions, no, but maybe accessing whichever doors they can walk through, maybe. Some
Okay.
doors were locked.
So then these guys' actions don't really mean anything? This looks like a fun room. All right.
What is wrong with you people?
Oh, it's laughing gas. You know, if I were an actor and I had to do this, I'd actually just really start coughing, probably. You ever do that?
Where you fake cough and you actually start coughing? Or you're for real coughing?
Yeah, like maybe like you got something in your throat and you try to like, but then you actually start coughing.
Oh. You've seen Cube, right?
The original, yes, I have.
Yeah, same.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's
a lot
pretty
better than this.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at, yes.
Walk!
Fine. The safer path.
Roll.
Also, what happens on the outside when they're playing the game? Like they don't see any of this, so they just stand there and then eventually move the piece, just because the guy says.
One of the Wadis says a word and they go, ah, or oh, and then they move the pieces. I don't know. You had the worst performance.
Oh, Dr. Bashir's dead. Oh.
The shortcut skips a whole level. I've learned there are risks in every roll of the dice.
You think saying this out loud right to his face isn't gonna affect something? Like,
I don't think this guy cares. He just wants to play the game. He's like, this is just entertainment for me.
Sacrifice 1 so that 2 may live.
All right. Sorry, Dax, you're out.
Like, why Dax?
Because she's the only other, well, I guess they're all main characters, but she's more the side character than Kira, I would say.
I've learned my lesson. I'll never cheat again. I'll never cheat again! Please! Please! Oh.
Damn, dude.
Over here! I found an open door! Ah! Oh! Oh! My leg!
My leg!
My leg.
Oh, God.
There's my breaking point.
If you were hurt, I'd leave you behind.
Damn.
And I'm glad I'm not the one who's hurt.
Ooh.
Come on, man.
Shimmy across this fucking wall. It's like, was the script 7 pages?
Oh, I don't know if David or the Wall of Writers like this is gonna be so tense. Oh my god.
Only a few meters more.
Great.
You know, maybe Cullum was due back for this episode, and then he read this script. What the fuck is this? I'm not doing this.
Oh, damn, they all fall in.
Oh.
Oh, they ran out of runtime.
We were never in any real danger.
It's only a game.
It's an interesting wrinkle. He Willy Wonka'd them.
Perhaps someday a rematch.
Mercy. I'm imagining the species if they didn't realize that Quark and them thought it was real. Just like him groveling on the floor, just saying, what the fuck?
Takes this game seriously.
Yeah, just a game, bro. We just watched Move Along Home, and now we're going to talk about it, starting with our whiteboard reactions.
Well, I'll go first, and the Wall of Writers proved me right again. And I'm somewhere teetering between a D and an F.
Yeah, I put great idea, horrible execution, with an underline under the E in execution.
There's that buzzword, execution.
I mean, this is, now maybe you feel a little bit differently than me, but this is a perfect example of it because, you know, I said earlier on in the episode it had a kind of a TOS-esque feel, and that's not a negative, that's not a dig at it. We love TOS. This episode kind of gave me a little bit of a vibe of like a Gamesters of Triskelion, you know, something like that. Also, just in my personal life, I love board games, table games. I made a joke about setting it up and explaining it forever, but I thoroughly actually enjoy that. And this is such a great idea. Take our characters and trap them inside of a table game as the players. Just that on its face, remove everything else. That is a fun idea. And I can't think of a way they could have done it worse.
You'd think the script, like we made the joke in the reaction, the script was 7 pages, and they had to just fill it with all this filler crap of them scurrying across the wall, thinking there's any tension there, but there's not. It's just them shaking and like shimmying, and everything else just horrible execution. All the actors felt off their game. I don't know if David Carson just went full one take on this show. I don't know what happened, but everyone else felt off.
The one good shot I remember is when Cisco wakes up and the camera's on top of him and it pans up and reveals him. That was a cool shot.
It was a cool shot, but I think it tipped their hand too early on what's going on. Unless they wanted it to be obvious from the get-go that it was a game. But if they had that nice moment where they're in there, they're all trying to figure it out, and then all of a sudden, Cisco, wait a minute, and then the camera pans up, zoom out, and then cuts, transitions it where Quark, Odo, and the dude are at. Then I think that would have been a nice, cute reveal, but just doing that right away tipped the hand, oh, they're inside the game.
And it would have taken too much effort to do what you're saying, because they didn't give a shit. This episode just reeks of they didn't give a shit. They had this weird story, and they're like, sure, let's make it. And there's one positive I want to say about the episode, and it's the conversation between Cisco and Dax when they're on the hill and she's hurt, and he's trying to, be like, oh, no, I'm not leaving you behind. And she's like, if you were hurt, I'd leave you behind. He's like, then I'm glad I'm not the one who's hurt. Nice little exchange between those two characters, builds their relationship. That is 30 seconds of this 45-minute episode.
You can have the worst episode of Star Trek of all time, and there's always at least one good line from it. And once again, I'm asking for someone to make that supercut for me so I don't have to go back and watch Up the Long Ladder and all these others. But those moments do exist. But everything else in here is just complete filler trash. I think I hated it. But I haven't had a breakdown like that
I think
in quite a while. Since the game. And what's up with Star Trek and games? I'm tired of games. And just, the show is done so well also with the practical suits, practical costumes and makeup. And then these fuckers come along. It's just, there's your costume.
It looked like they took one of those stencils and put it on their head and took just spray paint. And just, it just, it was all just bad.
Yeah.
You looked up that guest. You didn't name anything that we recognized him from. He's been in other stuff, but nothing that jumped out. He did look familiar, but
he was in a TV show that we just discovered existed with Jonathan Frakes and Linda Cardellini from 1999 to 2001 called The Lots, where Jonathan Frakes has a mustache. I much rather would have watched an episode of that instead of this. Yeah, once again, I'm convinced that Colum over in Ireland, he was faxed over the script. He's, what the fuck is this? I'm not fucking doing this. Put that other guy in there. I mean, what an odd guy to have that guy come back. Just to have, oh, they're not on the ship. Okay, I'm going to go investigate. All right.
Yeah. This could have been so cool if it was, this is going to be one of those, rewrite conversations because there's not much here about the actual episode I'm interested in digging into. And could have been sweet if it was rewritten to where we can bounce back and forth a little bit like they did to see the game perspective, but bring me more into the actual game, the perspective of Cisco and the four characters, and maybe hold off the reveal a little bit longer, but even if you don't, actually make these rooms worth it. Like, actually do something interesting. Maybe the only one that was close to interesting was the one where everyone's laughing and there's the gas coming in and they find out they have to do the drink to be like an antidote. That's an interesting idea. But like the hopscotch one, terribly annoying. The cliff one, just so boring and no tension whatsoever. Again, the Enterprise is going to blow up. No, it's not. We know these characters aren't going to die. So do something that's interesting. Now, killing them off one by one like they did with the Doctor, do it Willy Wonka style, where even though we know they're not actually going to die, the characters don't know that, and they could be dropping off one by one until it's just Cisco at the end. That could have been neat. Kind of like a Saw-esque, where every room you go into, someone dies.
Yeah. That
could have been fun. Frame it more like an escape room type game. All of those things. There's a lot of potential here. I mean, the idea of taking these Star Trek characters and they meet a species first contact that puts them into a board game. Jumanji would be another good example. Like, there's a lot of fun to be had, and they just didn't care, I guess, at all. Set design was pretty good. It was okay. It was unique for the game stuff that they were in, but
yeah, it was fine. I wanted their crew to use more of their wit to get out of these game situations instead of just deciding to take a drink when you're coughing. I would have done the same fucking thing. That's not that crazy. The Doctor even said, I would have done anything, whatever.
He even admitted it, yeah.
Yeah, and just shimmying across a rock slide is not entertaining at all. And hopscotch, I don't know. I wish they gave the characters more challenging, thought-provoking things instead of it just felt as if they were just guided through the board pieces and they were just pawns. Literally, I mean, Sister said we're pawns, but I wish our crew was smart enough to almost get out of it on their own, besides because they lost.
I felt no agency from them, like no free will that mattered from them. They were just, we're in this until we got taken out.
Yeah. If it was a TNG crew, they would have figured out a way to literally get out of the game, like outsmart it, get out of it. But in this, they lost. They just lost, and they were out of it. Oh, we lost. That's it. No winning.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
You did say before we started the show you wanted to see him lose.
That's true.
Is this what you had in mind?
It's true, but not exactly like this. This is a little different. But
that's funny.
I don't know. Picard and Darmok, for example, he did everything he could to try to figure out this crazy, how are we going to figure this out situation, and then seeing the crew just not do that, and just or at least
or even the fact that you could have written this episode with any 4 characters in mind. It doesn't need to be these 4 from Deep Space Nine. It can be written in anything. You know, the Quark angle of it is kind of funny with him cheating in the gambling, but I was not bought in at all in his groveling scene. It was just like, this is terrible. And, not even really the actor's fault, just the material. It was nice that Odo got to, try to be involved in security, but then once he figures out what's going on, he's basically pointless. You want to read a couple of takes? Because I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say.
This one's from Deep Red. Good news, gentlemen. You've just watched the worst episode of Deep Space Nine. Nowhere but up from here. Seriously, though, I don't know if this is the worst episode, but it is definitely the most infamous. So much so even the cast and crew have dunked on it in interviews many times. Well, that's great to hear. Now, people have said this about episodes that I've personally enjoyed in TNG, so I don't put a lot of stock into what cast and crew or people making the show think all the time. But if this is up there as one of the most infamous worst episodes, okay, good. That has a little bit of a relief.
Yeah. So this is the TNG equivalent of, or the Deep Space Nine equivalent of TNG's racist episode.
Code of Honor?
Code of Honor?
Yeah, apparently. Different reasons.
Sixto says, I was going to say something or other, but ... What the fuck is this episode? Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
This one's from John A. of Doom. Finally, following weeks, nay years of waiting, you reach the pinnacle of Star Trek, Gene's ultimate dream. After slogging through episodes like Measure of a Man and Best of Both Worlds, we get to move along home. Its greatness is only matched. Sigh. You know what? I can't do this. Even with my wealth of sarcasm, I can't pretend to enjoy this. Worst episode of Trek ever. F. That might be my favorite take ever.
This is from Allie Roth. Move Along Home is a campy TOS story stuck on Deep Space Nine. Imagine it with Kirk, Spock, and Bones, and it's instantly better. Not good, but better. That's so true.
Got to throw in that not good.
Yeah, still not good, but better. And that's so true. I think if it had been a TOS episode, they could have had a lot of fun with it. And just the natural chemistry of Kirk, Spock, and Bones. And if I were imagining Bones, what the hell is this? I'm a doctor, not a pawn.
It appears we're in a video game. It appears we're in a board game, Doctor.
Yeah.
Board game. What could this mean?
Yeah. Unfortunate. I mean, a small part of me wants to give some type of credit of oh, they're not afraid to do a campy TOS type plot. I just don't think Deep Space Nine is the show for it.
Not the show for it, no.
And I haven't seen very much of it, but I can already tell it's not the show for it.
Yes.
And I will just say up front, we're still looking through them, but I'm trying to look for defectors here, or people who like it. And the biggest argument I can say is people just saying, oh, this one's too much hated. It's not that bad. That's the biggest offense. I'm not seeing anyone genuinely, enjoying this.
Christopher Boutwell says, I'm so sorry for your loss of time watching this garbage episode. Mm-hmm.
Here's a good take. I want to ask you this question. Wrestling with Gaming, this is generally considered the worst episode of the series, and I'd watch it 10 times before watching Imaginary Friend once. What are your thoughts on that?
You would watch this crew shimmy across that wall 10 fucking times before Imaginary Friend.
You never laughed once during Imaginary Friend.
I never laughed once during Imaginary Friend. That's correct. But if I needed to sleep, I'd put on Imaginary Friend.
You needed to sleep, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Would I pick this?
I wouldn't want to watch either of them 10 times,
no,
for sure.
I mean, gun to my head. Pull the trigger.
I would say there's been a lot of comparisons I've seen in these comments. The Game, Spock's Brain, and Imaginary Friend. A lot of the ones I've seen named in comparison to this, The Game was like a weird ass experience, but I think it's much better than this. Spock's Brain is an episode I genuinely like. Imaginary Friend, though, that might be one of the ones where I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is better or worse than Imaginary Friend, but we're talking same category.
Yeah, they belong in the same room together. Oh, we were talking about if someone like watched this. This is their first episode of Deep Space Nine. Cabarin says, the epitome of late night 90s TV trash. This episode made me stop watching when the show was airing.
I can't blame you.
Way to go, David. You did it.
I genuinely can't blame you. And I have to think that when people were like warning us before we started the show about season 1 or the first 2 seasons, like this is the type of episode they had in mind of like, please don't give up. And it's like, I'm not going to give up on the show. It's episodic, obviously, and fresh slate with the next one. But yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's just so fascinating how good these shows can be, and how they're going to be on the complete opposite of the spectrum. Because some, I don't know, TV shows have a pretty same level of quality all the way throughout. Very rarely does one go crazy off the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
But this show, or this franchise.
Another comparison, Avaria says they actually liked the episode. I also liked The Royale on TNG and tend to view them similarly. I think The Royale is leagues above this episode. Leagues above. Some weird, kind of dumb, kind of ridiculous stuff happens, and our guys get through it the best they can. I'm not saying it's an A or anything, but if you can be okay with almost nothing being explained, it's not a bad time. You're going to get the occasional Wonderland episode, and that's okay, really. And I don't disagree with much of this because, again, the concept, the idea itself is actually something I would be interested in. I do like Alice in Wonderland. I like Willy Wonka. I like that idea. It was just the execution and me being bored out of my mind. Thank God there was score. I may have actually fallen asleep if this was an episode scored like TNG and there was silence the whole time. At least there was score.
Can you imagine if the score was silence when they were shimmying across the wall? Can you fucking imagine? I probably would have laughed even harder.
Yeah, it would have been even better, actually, yeah. We probably just end with General Trelane. It's so bad. There you go.
That works.